What's good? What's good? As this race slash culture slash class war continues to rage on, dividing our country, I am faced every day with the desire to run away. There is just so much hate, toxicity, anger, closed-mindedness, and I'm really afraid for the future. And so I dream of running away and living on a beach and doing massage for vacationers and just avoiding it all. But in my heart, I know I need to fight. I need to stand up. Running away, that is what a coward would do. And I like to think that I'm trying to build integrity. I say build integrity because it's a never-ending pursuit, but also because I don't think I was always a great person. Not that I'm a great person now, but I was a shitty person. I was a traumatized boy who was acting out, and I'll admit it. And so, to bring that to the topic of the video, please fact check me. But somebody threw this statistic out that 70% of Black mothers are single mothers. And somebody also said, I do believe it was Larry Elder, that in the 50s and 60s, welfare workers used to go around encouraging Black women to not let a man around because then they wouldn't receive their benefits. And so when people talk about the welfare state and the destruction of the family unit, I'm blown away. And I want to know if this stuff is true. And growing up, I mentioned I was a traumatized boy. I My mother had husbands, but I didn't have a father. So, if that makes sense, she had multiple husbands. I thought one guy was my father, and he wasn't. And in an effort to salvage her second marriage, she essentially abandoned us. So, from about the age 12 on, I lived with friends and family. I was taken in by some family for a little while. That's a whole nother story. So, in my 20s, I developed some freedom and had a good job and just was an asshole. And I see it now. And I look back at the life of not having a father and having a chaotic mother, we'll say. Not to disparage her, we're on talking terms again, but I think about I think about the person I would have been had I had a father growing up, a strong, stable father figure. If my mother was stable, and I think about in terms of economics, money, financial stresses were always something that I picked up on from a young age. My family struggled. Many families have been struggling, and so that's why I really wish Andrew Yang would become more popular and more people would talk about the importance of financial stability, but then also the importance of family stability. It is so important for a child to have a stable family. I think that is one of the strongest predictors for outcome in life. I took 3 economics courses in college. So I have a master's degree in business. My undergraduate degree is in finance. The 3 economics courses I took, macro, micro, and then monetary theory. So invest in crypto. But they never, not once, talked about this idea of universal basic income. And I'm a little ashamed to admit that I didn't know about it until Andrew Yang was running, and it honestly just seemed like too good of an idea to be true, so I just never even thought about it. But then I think about Dr. Martin Luther King, who was championing this idea before he was assassinated. I think about, I got to think about my family. But also I think about the Black community, because right now there's a lot of focus on the systemic racism issues that I do believe exist in our country. So I am your ally in that sense. Um, but we got to talk about the family, and we got to talk about money. And we don't. The government is not your friend. We don't need more social workers. We need to put the money directly into families' hands so they can make the best decisions for their families. We don't need bureaucrats and administrators wasting our funds. We need to put the money directly in people's hands. Imagine the world we could have today if we had a universal basic income implemented 50 years ago. Do you think we would be seeing these race riots? Do you think we would have the police brutality issues that we do have now? Our government is too big and they're fucking us all. Excuse my language, I'm sorry. This video's been rambly, but I don't even wanna make videos at this point now. It's just things are so chaotic. So if you are watching, thank you very much. I'm not trying to attack anyone. I'm not trying to shame. I'm not trying to judge. I'm just trying to talk about my own personal experience growing up without a father and extrapolating that to all kinds of individuals. And then my own family's experience growing up poor and struggling. We all have our own struggles. And if we can come together, build our communities again, strengthen our families, we can overcome the institutions and systems that have overtaken our lives. But what needs to happen is we need to come together as the people. The institutions, the government is smaller than the entire population. We don't need the entire population. We just need a big enough portion to make decisions with their votes, to make decisions with their purchases. Stop supporting shitty companies. That's the beauty of being able to, if you have the money to do that, that's why we need to give the resources to individuals to make informed and conscious decisions. Don't even get me started on the obesity epidemic that's being covered up by the other pandemic. Oh my goodness. But I do not think the average American is informed or enabled. And I believe the government and our religious institutions are what are oppressing them. And there are degrees of oppression. I agree as well. I want to hear about how you're struggling, but I also want someone to listen to my struggles. And I want to know that I have allies, and I want to know that people care about me and want to help me as well. I love Andrew Yang, and I know that's like 50% of what I talk about. And I'm not trying to be a Yang channel, but he can be the voice that unites us. I believe that. But we got to be open-minded to listening to our neighbors. Love thy neighbor. That's my ramble. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, interact with me if I said something that you want to pursue further in dialogue. I'd love to actually do interviews. If you want to have a chat with me and you're comfortable, being vulnerable, expressing yourself in this cancel culture world, if you're brave enough, let's do it. I want to be challenged. I want to learn. Thank you.